This is episode 1 of The Brave Life. I'm Chris. And I want to start with the thing that nobody told me when I was stepping out of the office for the very last time. So let me tell you. I was in corporate for about 10 years. So I was doing across both marketing, branding, and sales. So I started with sales. So I think over the years, my role has changed quite a little bit. And by the past couple of years, I was supporting more than one country. So what that means is that I was flying around quite a bit because, other countries are a little bit more, are a little bit bigger. So they often have a lot of events. So what that meant for me was that a lot of times I am away at least 1 week every month. At least. And I remember last year was really quite bad because for about 4 months or so, I was barely home for, cumulatively about 2 months. I spent half the time overseas basically. And I think the most heartbreaking thing is that because there's a lot of events and they're often done over the weekend, I was actually losing out a lot on weekends. So if it's just weekdays, not so bad because the children go to school, right? And I think I was pretty good at what I was doing. I was genuinely quite happy with what I was doing. When you first put a person in a cross-geographical role, you often find that there's this new challenge, of people needing you, of where and how you can provide that value. But as the time goes on, you start to notice that it all comes at a cost. Your joy at work, it comes at a cost of missing big times with your children, seeing your children grow up through the eyes of the phone or the eyes of, your relative or your loved ones, your husband, your spouse. And what you're losing is your presence at home. And slowly, I start to notice that, if I want to be 100% at work, I was not 100% at home. I'm slowly losing the beat of myself. I couldn't quite grapple with the identity that I wanted. Do I want to be the working mother or do I want to be a present mother? And what was the most difficult was that you see people, you hear people being able to do this. You see people with your own eyes that why is it that they're able to have it all? They could excel at work and they could still be, looking at their children growing up. And I think that was the crisis that I was going through. So I'm always having this internal battle in my head. And eventually you start to notice, right, that losing yourself is not sudden. You don't wake up one day to realize that you no longer have that part of yourself. You're losing that spark that made you who you are. You're slowly disappearing in a way. And I think, I didn't notice it. I didn't notice that I was losing the fire. I didn't notice that I was losing the joy and the spark that I see in life. And what made me really devastated was that because I was losing all this, I was not able to demonstrate the passion for life with my own children. And I think back to, disappearing, it's gradual, not just in the emotional sense, it was also physically, right? You always start with, I'll miss one dinner. It's okay, I'll just miss. I'm so sorry I have to miss, your birthday. I'm so sorry I have meetings. I'm not able to be with you during your excursion. I'm so sorry, and I just got so tired of saying, I'm so sorry, I am not able to be there. So I guess, it accumulated up to a point where we went for a holiday in December. So my husband and I took a very long holiday with the children. We were traveling for about, I think, 2+ weeks. Yeah. I think, as usual, right? I will always bring my laptop. I cannot remember the last time that I traveled without my laptop. And I would just, I have to bring it around everywhere because I just have to, it's this mental load that I couldn't. So I think, at one point he asked me this. He said, do you realize that every single day you're spending more time with other people's children than your own children. And that hit me really hard. I didn't turn on my laptop after that. I think it started with my husband. Just one day he just pulled me aside and he asked me, he said, "Why are you working so hard?" And I said, I want to do well. I want to show my kid that I could do well. He said, "No, tell me, why are you working so hard? For what? Is it for money?" I mean, of course, I cannot, say that I don't need money, right? Everyone needs money. Who will say no to money? I think where he was trying to drive at was that, so eventually he told me, he said, "You're working so hard because you want to prove to your children that you can work hard and, you should work hard. But if every day you're spending more time with other people's children than your own children, they cannot see it." And that really hit me so hard. And that really pulled me back, right? And I tell you, after he said that to me, I didn't once take out my laptop during that holiday. And it was something that people noticed. So they said, "For the first time, you're not responding to the email even when you're on leave." And I'm very grateful that he really told me that, and that woke me up. Like every day we're just in this grind, but what am I doing it for? I can stand up and touch my heart and say I used to love my job so much. I love creating something and I love branding it. I love my job. But I guess eventually through time, you start to notice that you have correlated your sense of self, your identity, with who you are at work. If it aligns, great. But sometimes it doesn't. And I felt like I was losing a little bit more of myself every single day as I tried to catch up with my work. This actually happened at the beginning of our holiday, and we had plenty of time to talk it out. So eventually, he also did. He was very supportive. I'm very grateful to have an incredibly supportive husband. He told me, he said, "If you want to focus on the family, there's nothing stopping you. You don't have to prove yourself through your work." And that conversation really stuck with me. But there was really no dramatic breakdown. It was just a very clear decision after that, I would have to take time off to prioritize myself. The logic is that if I'm able to prioritize myself, I can bring the best of myself to my family, and I can show my children what it truly means to lead the life that's brave, to do what they are designed to do. And really, there is a lot more to life. But I mean, of course, there were many changes that we have to make, right? First of all, we could no longer eat fresh chicken. I'm just kidding. So the first thing was to really look into the finances. I think we've been very blessed, and we are grateful that, we are very grateful that we have been quite comfortable. There was just really no dramatic breakdown. It was just really about us looking through the logistics. But I must admit that I am in a very privileged position to be able to take this very indulgent step. And I know that not everyone is able to do the same, and I am forever grateful that I am able to prioritize myself. But anyway, so to the happy things. I'm just a very emotional person by nature. Right after I left, right? The biggest question is, what does freedom really look like? I must admit, it was a lot less dramatic than I thought. I thought that, I'll go all out and do everything. In fact, I started planning to do all these things. I signed up to be certified as a personal trainer. I've also signed up for courses. I've also signed up for online courses. I bought the entire 1-year course of Coursera. I had all this plan of learning a third language. And I have not done a single one of them. And the thing is, even after leaving, I am still at my previous habit. So for context purpose, I used to go to gym. I used to wake up at about 5:30 to go to the gym. before work. Because otherwise, I would never go. I was still going to the gym at 6:30, 7 a.m. even after I left. There was no insane feeling or sensation of liberation, but I remember feeling very, very, very tired on the day that I left. In fact, I was very fatigued for about 2 to 3 days after I left, because all of a sudden it became very overwhelming. 10 years just kept in storage, just like that. And you suddenly feel like I have all this time to do all this thing, but I don't know where to start. I have a lot of time, but I don't know what to do with it. I have learned through all these years that time is a commodity that I don't have the luxury of. The moment I had it, I suddenly didn't know what to do with it. And that was really something that struck me as a little bit insane. And I think what was even stranger was the silence. The silence and just not having people chase you for things is an incredible sensation. I must admit, right, the perks of a job really goes beyond having a steady income every month. I think it's really about having this structure. I'm a person who thrives in structures. When there's structure, I know what I'm supposed to know. I know exactly what is expected of me to deliver at specific points. Every single one of us, regardless of what our role is, we know what is our matrix. We know what is the thing that we cannot drop the ball on. So what I really missed was having the structure. You suddenly have to come up with your own structure, and that is a skill that I didn't learn yet. I was never an entrepreneur, right? So I didn't know how to curate that structure. So every day I was just trying to find things to do, yet not doing anything. You know what I mean? Because nobody could teach me how to create that structure. So I must say that I didn't even realize how much of my self-worth was tied to my job title. My identity is basically my job title, and I didn't realize how much I needed that job title until it's gone. So what am I if I am not the person that people are looking for to solve a problem? What are you without your job title? I don't think it is a question that everyone immediately answers every single day of their life. You wake up, you have so many things on your laundry list to do, right? Things that you need to check off the list that you keep running and you never stop to think, why am I running? And I must admit, right, the guilt of doing nothing is very real. So because I was doing so much, but I wasn't actually accomplishing anything, I suddenly didn't know how to measure how efficient I was spending my day. There was no to-do list. I mean, there was to-do list, but my to-do list doesn't have an actual output, right? I guess in summary, when productivity is your identity, was your identity, resting is considered, I would say, a failure. And for me, that was the thing that was the most difficult to unlearn. And all of a sudden, you start to notice that all these years of poor sleep, high cortisol, high stress, it was just your body sending you the signal, but you never really stop and have a look at them to see how they're impacting you and your life. And all of a sudden, it just came. You know, my first week, I was just struggling with how to cope with my body, my mind, my body, my emotions. They're moving at different pace. But I guess, you know, like, honestly, I wasn't the one that first noticed what unemployment actually looks like for me. My daughter was the one that first noticed. So my daughter actually asked me, Mommy, are you not working anymore? Is that your last day? And I was like, yeah, it's my last day. And she said, Mommy, I'm so happy you're home every day with me. Mommy, you don't have to fly anymore. My daughter actually always used to tell me that, Mommy, can you don't take airplane today? And I think my heart just broke when she said, Mommy, I'm so happy you're home with me every day. Can't talk about my kids without crying. I guess, you know, I'm just really figuring it out. I'll be very honest. I know what I want to achieve in the end. I know my skill set, but there is still a lot of things that I need to learn because I've been stuck in the same industry doing the same things again and again. This challenge for me is something that I'm so excited. I'm so excited to learn new things. I'm so excited to relook at my competency, at my capability, to reassess where I can bring myself to. And I am beyond excited to be able to figure out the things on my own terms. And I think the greatest takeaway is when I figure it out, not if, when I figure it out, I'm able to share with my children what it feels like to really live life on your own terms. So I guess this podcast is that journey, not the highlight reels, but the real version. This podcast is for the woman sitting behind her desk wondering if there's more to life. There really is. And that woman, she's allowed to have it. And that is episode 1 of The Brave Life. If any of this sounds familiar to you and you already know what I'm talking about, subscribe so you don't miss episode 2. And if you're sitting at your desk right now wondering if there is more to life, there is. And I'll see you next week. This is The Brave Life with Chris.